Fox News is an arm of propaganda of the Trump administration. Truth, they don't care about, as we saw with almost $1 billion after the 2020 election. But they're also signaling to all this manosphere and how masculine Trump is. It's like the party of one on steroids, and it's so gross. So just listen to this and see what words you pick out as just being so offensive.
Have Trump here talking to 10,000 Navy guys, and then you have Kamala whining that she didn't get blown out. What kind of contrast was that this weekend?
What a difference the presidency makes, Jesse, right? I mean, we are now totally over that destructive, stupid era of toxic masculinity. And now we're in an era of real masculinity, thanks to the bold, muscular leadership of President Trump and our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. We saw that in bold relief.
Enough. So they're mad at toxic masculinity, and Trump and Hegseth are so muscular and masculine. It's gross. I'm like, if you're watching that, are you not like, that is such a weird description of the commander in chief and the secretary of defense. I just thought it was very bizarre.
So this is propaganda, and this is a propaganda arm of this authoritarian regime that thrives, and the through line through it is toxic masculinity. So they're using tactics that abusers used. She's gaslighting and saying these healthy men are toxic and these toxic men are muscular. And this is gaslighting. This is propaganda. This is intentional. And they use a woman to present this message because they are engaging in gender washing, as we learned from Professor Ruth Ben-Ghiat. And these are very important things to remember, that a lot of this is intentional. They're propping up the strong man. They're using a woman to do it. They're gender washing. So it sends a signal to these women that probably are college education. You have a 2-income household, but these are mega church people. And they're like, oh, well, that lady says her man is muscular and my man is muscular. All of this is intentionally dangerous. For the people who are not inside the cult, it's weird as shit. I mean, it's just so off-putting. But this hits hard with the people inside the cult. And this is very intentional propaganda from them, in my opinion.
I completely agree. And here's the thing. I have just beat my head against a wall with this $1 billion rename of the Department of War instead of the Department of Defense. When Trump ran on, he's the no wars president. But so when this fell across my eyeballs yesterday about a district court judge in a federal court ruling says, on September 5th, 2025, President Trump signed Executive Order 14347 entitled Restoring the United States Department of War, purporting to assign Department of War as the secondary chosen name for the Department of Defense. However, this complaint will refer to the agency by its statutory name, the Department of Defense, as only Congress is vested with the authority to change the name of cabinet-level executive agencies, and it made no change. So this $1 billion, and we're running around, and Pete Hegseth comes out when he gives his little talk. I'm the Secretary of War. That's all fake. That is propaganda. It's bullshit, and it's costing $1 billion, and it incenses me. But I love that a judge called it out and said, there's no such thing as the Department of War. That's made up. I mean,
It's completely made up, and I think changing it would be $1 billion. And they're just calling it the Department of War, but I don't know that they're actually going to spend the $1 billion to do that, is my understanding. And everything that this administration does, this regime rather, everything that this regime does is for show. This is a part of the propaganda that they put out. They send 4D cameras with Black Hawk helicopters into Chicago so that they can make a clip that these MAGA Christians, they like in their spare time when they're not speaking in tongues, they like to watch people in masks be mean to brown people. That's how they get off. Stephen Miller probably whacks off to it all the time. These are sick puppies. But think about how how stupid this administration is. You've got Kanks at the top of it, who is wound up like a cheap clock that he hasn't won a Nobel Peace Prize. He has been on a global tour telling everybody, I solved 7 wars, become the laughingstock in the world of it. And in the throes of all of this, some dipshit that works for him says, hey, we need to be on offense, not on defense, coach. We're going to name it the Department of War. You'll be like, and he's like, oh, yeah, that'll be great. And then they probably do it. And as soon as he finds out that somebody said, hey, I don't think you're going to get the Peace Prize because you changed it to Department of War, ketchup will be strewn all over his Marie Antoinette Oval Office. These people are dipshits. They can't even stay on message for anything. They're the pro-peace party. He's going to end all these wars, and it's the Department of War. We're going on offense and not defense. And he rambles about shit like he was a draft dodger, Pumps. And he talks about that if he would have been president, we would have won Vietnam. Like he just talks about, this is like a drunk person at a bar, or if you're at the memory care wing of a nursing home, which I've been before, I had grandparents that were in these places. They just ramble and make up shit like this. And this guy, this like sober, but acts like he's drunk, full-blown dementia, should be in the memory care unit, is sitting in the White House doing this crazy shit.
Oh, absolutely. And all of his underlings and ass kissers, they're telling him, oh, it's great. They refuse to tell him the truth because they'll get fired. But here's Kristi Noem, and she's just a special kind of appalling. And I think it goes a lot about what you've said about women washing the shit so other women have the permission structure to be okay with all this horseshit patriarchy. Listen to her.
Intelligence indicates that these people are organized. They're getting more and more people on their team as far as attacking officers, and they're making plans to ambush them and to kill them. We have specific officers and agents that have bounties that have been put out on their heads. It's been $2,000 to kidnap them, $10,000 to kill them. They've released their pictures. They've sent them between their networks, and it's an extremely dangerous situation.
Everything she just said is a lie.
Everything.
Everything. First of all, her saying my intelligence, that's an oxymoron to me. Anything coming out of her cannot be intelligent. The bounties, that's like Fox News. Oh my gosh, Antifa. Antifa is not real. Every single person that is against fascism is Antifa. And she's actually on Fox News saying and spewing this shit. It defies me that we have people that believe this. But then, like you said, we've got the Black Hawk helicopters. I was seeing that some of the images they're showing are from foreign countries, not Portland, not Chicago, because it's a propaganda war and it's optics.
And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, of course, ever since Charlie Kirk was murdered, they rolled out that the left are domestic terrorists. He had been alluding to that before, the enemy from within, but then Charlie Kirk was murdered, and we haven't heard a peep about the investigation. We haven't seen a perp walk. We haven't seen any more evidence. We haven't had any lawyers out in front of the press. They cooked the books to fix the evidence in Kash Patel's FBI so that they can use this to further propagandize that leftists and left-leaning people are out trying to kill ICE. The situation is simple. The facts are this. The FBI and other intelligence agencies have found that the biggest threat in the United States is right-wing terrorism ever since the Oklahoma City bombing. And yet you have, in our home state of Oklahoma, where we saw kids that got blown up in a daycare center of the Alfred Murrah Federal Building, carried out by firemen that were dead. They carried out dead babies' bodies. I remember seeing it. I was 19 years old. And then you have a state that brags openly about Trump winning every county, all 3 times that he ran. And in the Trump tent are all of the don't tread on me guys. And now that ICE has arrived and the government's arrived, they're fine with being treaded on, because at the end of the day, all of that was bullshit. They don't like multiculturalism. They don't like free thought. They don't like critical thinking because it's painful for them and exposes something completely, deeply broken and unevolved in them. And so they fight against free thought, against equal rights. They fight against human rights and all of this macho bravado bullshit. At the end of the day, left-leaning people really don't even like guns.
Right.
I come from a family of liberals. We don't have guns. I don't like guns. I don't let my kids go shoot guns. I'm not a gun person. All the liberals I know are not into guns. This is a right-wing problem, and they are lying and propagandize so that they can justify martial law and enacting the Insurrection Act so that they can cancel the 2026 elections. Because if we have the 2026 elections, and that is a huge if, these fuckers are going to lose, and the law will start hammering down on every single one of them. And I will say that I don't think there's a person in this administration that hasn't committed a crime.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All day, every day. So much corruption. And you think, okay, Fox News. Then we find out, we saw that they're able to lie with a straight face in the Dominion lawsuit. Well, in Smartmatics, okay, pop this up, Kylie. So they're in a lawsuit with Smartmatics for the same election lies that they were saying about this voting company. Here's the thing. So I read this because I'm like, what are they doing over there? Here's what they're doing. They're destroying evidence. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, who can prop up and propagandize a criminal president? Oh, I know. People that don't take evidence seriously, that do not believe in the rule of law. We've got in this article, it shows that Rupert Murdoch and Sean Hannity and Susan Scott, who's the CEO, they were all in a group text. Murdoch says, I don't text. I've never texted. And then they get their phones and they're like, oh, well, Rupert Murdoch's in this text. So it's just lies, lies, lies. And then, of course, Laura Ingraham, who sits up there and lets people be anti-woman all day on her show, she's like, oh, yeah, I don't know where my phone is. I delete my texts all the time. And this is my question. Like, every single one of these executives is like, oh yeah, no, we delete our texts all the time. We delete them every day. We delete them every 30 days. Is there so much illegal shit on your phone that you have to delete it every day or every 30 days? Like, that's striking to me.
That's exactly the point right there, is if you're doing illegal shit and you're engaged in a cover up, then you're paranoid. And it's kind of like, you always know, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're accusing you of cheating,
right,
then you immediately know they're the cheater. And so if these guys are thinking, oh, somebody's looking into me, then they're breaking the law and they're doing fucked up shit too. But all of this brings me back to Pumps. They have all committed so much crimes.
Yeah.
The oligarchs are vulnerable. The media that has capitulated to Trump are vulnerable. Everybody in Trump's administration is vulnerable. And there is going to be a huge resistance on all of their parts to obstruct the 2026 elections. I feel it more intensely every single day. And that's why I have a lot of faith in the work of Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker, because I think this is the most important work right now to ensure that we get to 2026. And between now and then, we'll cover the shit they're doing, but it's going to be the same day over and over. Right. They lie. They're picking on marginalized people. They're breaking laws. They're making people less safe. People are dying. Rinse, repeat, over and over and over. And sadly, our only solution right now, because the courts won't do anything and the MAGA Christians in Congress will not do jack shit because they are clearly hypocrites. Our only option right now is to keep hammering enough to where we have elections on 2026.
I completely agree. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and you can buy our book. There's a post or a link in the bio, and you can get it on audiobook.